Hi guys, welcome back to our podcast. I'm your host Bianca.
Hey, I'm Naj.
I'm Ryan.
So today's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm not really the host today, am I?
Not really. We're going to grill you today.
You're being interrogated.
Yeah.
Bit of an interrogation
As everyone
today.
knows, you're our social media manager. So we've collated a whole bunch of questions
Got my
that
palms
clients,
sweaty.
clients, friends.
It's the most common stuff that people want to know.
Yeah. So we're going to fire them at you and see how good you
No
really
pressure.
are
No pressure.
at social media.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm confident.
Yeah, you down?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, sweet.
All right, well, fire away.
Fire away.
All right.
All right. What are the most burning questions of all time? What is the best time to post on social media?
Oh my God, I hate this question.
Yeah.
So social media, when we say social media, that obviously means like a whole. So we were talking about lots of different platforms within social media. So again, there's no real one person answer to this. It's very, all depends on what kind of business you are, you know, when your followers are most engaged, what platform you're using. So there's no real right answer. And I feel like a lot of people try to give you, oh, you know, you should post at 9 p.m. every single night. But realistically, that's just not right. And it's just not correct at all.
I feel like there are some bad times maybe to post.
Yeah, like there's obviously more times that people are more active on accounts than others. But I feel like, especially with the algorithms these days, they're so unpredictable and they're so different to what it used to be. So it used to be like chronological order, like whatever you would post.
And who you followed, that's what you saw.
Yeah.
It would come up on your page and you would see, oh, you know, this person posted a minute ago. But these days you don't know really when people have posted. Like it's just coming up from the algorithm. Like, you know, you're interested in this post. I get videos all the time that are from 2023 and they're coming up on my For You page. So, and sometimes videos, especially on like short form content platforms like TikTok and Instagram, they take weeks, let alone months sometimes to go viral, to come up on people's pages.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not a one person answer.
Would you say that like what's probably more important is the actual content itself?
100%. So definitely working towards content that a lot of trial and error is really important with social media. So you're seeing what performs really well from the results, I guess, you've gotten on your platform. So if the content you're doing performed well, why would you not try it again?
Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't matter what time you posted it. So that's pretty much the answer.
Yeah.
Don't ever listen to anyone say, you
do
must
it at this
post
time,
at 7 p.m.
3:07 p.m.
Literally, it's just so. And I know that a lot of platforms like Sprout Social have like times that they suggest.
Yeah, they've collected data across multiple clients, but that's
100%.
very generic.
It is so generic.
You know?
And they're not just like specifically going to, hey, you have an e-commerce business in fashion and in Australia and you sell this many products. It's like every single user in the world who uses Sprout, that's how they've collated the information.
Like a good telltale factor to the reason this question is so hard to answer is you can't find the answer really anywhere. Like just because no one from these platforms, Google,
nothing.
Facebook, no one's came out and given an answer because there kind of really isn't one.
No,
and like
100%.
if there was, every company would be posting at the same time.
And even then, though, imagine that every
Yeah.
single company was posting at the exact same time. You'd get lost.
Yeah. And
It's
it just
just such
doesn't
a
happen.
silly thing to say.
Yeah. And
So,
I think like everything, like you probably should test.
100%.
You know, if you're doing similar type content,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I assume you would try posting, you know, before noon, afternoon, evening, whatever. You can schedule it with our software and
Like I always,
see what works.
I always see like companies email me at like 6 o'clock, but then some companies will be like, I'll be the guy to message at 6:01 or 6:05.
Yeah.
So like they're always testing and like, does it make a difference? Yeah, you can only really trust the data that you've already got.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
And even then, though, with social media, it could just change in the next few weeks with their algorithm. So it's a lot of trial and error and just, focus on good quality content.
All right. So that was the best time. The number 2 most asked question. How often should I post?
Oh, gosh, these questions are so funny because it's like I get these questions a lot in life as well. And again, I'm always probably going to say that there's no definite answer to any of these, but I think that if we're going to say an overall rule for people, if you're posting on platforms like Instagram and Facebook, I would say 3 to 5 posts a week. That's what I would say.
Cool.
But that's a very, very broad answer once again. It doesn't factor in how old your account is, you know, what you're actually posting itself, what if it's a period of like a sale period, or if it's, trending videos, or if it's just product images. Like if you're posting 5 product images a week, I would say no, stop that
Yeah.
entirely.
Unless it's like a new product, like you're putting new products out that
Yes,
often. But if
yes.
you're not, then
100%. So again, very, very broad. But yeah, 3 to 5 is a really good number to sit in, especially because people feel comfortable hearing that answer. They go, oh yeah, that's doable. That sounds okay. I feel like I can do that. But when you're starting off, like if you're a new account, you should be posting so much. You should be taking advantage of the fact that you've just started a new account, because the algorithm will reward you that you're a new account. If you've sat on an old account and haven't used it for 10 years and then decide to post, unfortunately, like as we've seen, like it doesn't reward you, because oh, why did you neglect us for 10 years?
I think something that probably a lot of people don't think about that, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but engagement to your follower ratio. So like if you have like, let's say 100,000 followers and you're getting really poor engagement, like 500 likes, 200 likes, Instagram obviously aren't rewarding you because your content isn't of a high quality. Where a account with, let's say 50,000 followers who's getting 10,000 likes,
that's amazing,
or something like that. That's great engagement, and Instagram have recognized that.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, we're going to suggest this content to new people.
100%. Yeah. It's again but yeah, 3 to 5, I always say, is a really nice number. And like people feel super comfortable hearing that. But if it all depends on platforms. TikTok, I'd say post every single day, multiple videos a day. TikTok is just so unpredictable. And I've had videos that didn't go viral on the first day, but then 2 months later they started picking up trends and hashtags and keywords and things like that. But if you want a really soft answer from me, 3 to 5 is fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Look, it's a good guide. It's not 5 a day. It's not once a week. So it's it's a general. It's a good guide for people that they can follow.
In social media is key.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Like anything, really.
100%. I think that's probably even more important than how many times a week. If you 100%. If you do twice a week consistently, that's better than 3 to 5 times a week. Like,
and then we'll never hear from you for a month.
Yeah,
but that's what happens. Like,
it happens all the time.
They have content. They're like, oh hell yeah, we'll post 16 posts this week. We're just gonna pump it out, and then they're like, oh crap, we've got nothing for the next 2 weeks.
Got to spread it. Got to be consistent.
100%. Yeah.
Cool. We work with a lot of like professional services and a lot of sort of B2B companies. So question like that comes up a lot is, my business is kind of boring.
Yeah.
Do I actually need social media for that type of business? Say you're a law firm or an accounting firm. You're doing like a practical sort of
maybe a service
quote
or
unquote
or
boring or service-based job.
Yeah.
Is there room for those businesses on social media?
100%. It is very easy though to just think that you're boring, so then you're literally showing that through your social media. So you've gone in there with the attitude, I'm boring, I don't have anything interesting to talk about. We're such a common business, like say like a builder or a law firm, like you said, and it is technically boring, but there's so much opportunity when you have a business like that to then be like, how do we do this better?
Be creative.
There's no one else. Exactly. There's no one else in the industry or in the social media world who are doing it well. So how can we be better? Because you'll stand out. There's a million fashion e-commerce businesses. There's a million, like personal brands that have a really, really strong front face person who is just there in your face doing really, really good TikTok videos and trends. But I haven't really ever seen a law firm go viral.
I'm sure if there was one, like they would be probably a first choice.
Exactly.
They care about social media. They care about that audience. 100%. So they're trying to, connect to you personally on social media.
Yeah. Like there's so many, that's when it comes down to a really good social media strategy and having a really good social media person or team and a company though with that. You have to always factor in that if you're not open to things on social media, you're going to just be a boring social media account. If you are not open to testing the waters and trialing things, not saying you have to throw your morals out the door, but you need to be open to social media is all about standing out and being different and trendy. You want to be the person starting the trend, not following the trend.
I think a key thing is to know that social media is not your website.
100%.
And I think a lot of people just think, oh, look, this is my website just on another platform, on another channel.
Yeah.
Let's put our website on Instagram.
100%.
Let's put our website on TikTok.
It's such an old school way of thinking of that. And it's hard to if that's all you've known, it's so hard to step out of that.
A lot of traditional businesses sort of run like that.
Yeah.
You can see why an older person or like a more traditional business owner could be scared to shift from their typical tone of voice
Yeah.
to more of a social tone of voice, because they are very different.
Yeah, and we see that a lot. It's a lot of things that, we have clients in the past who have been super hesitant, but it's literally just about easing in, kind of showing what other people are doing. Here's how this video, you did a culture video in the office. It got 4 million views. Do you know what I mean? Like showing that you don't have to be doing silly little TikTok dances if that's not what you want to do. You could be doing really, really cool videos that not necessarily, you want to show the person who you're representing in a law firm or whatever, but you have to be open. That's what I say. You have 100%. To be open. And a really good example of that is Duolingo. They're literally Duolingo. An app where you just learn languages. Like boring. Realistically, when you hear it, boring. But they have taken social media by storm by being a very interactive, open social media account. And their social media girl is famous. Like everyone loves her. She's like LinkedIn famous. Everyone knows her in the social media world because of how she's been able to take a boring account to this worldwide international social media phenomenon. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think more on a local level, the Up and Go account, I've showed you a few times.
You love that.
They always do like super funny
He's
stuff.
He's such an Up and Go fan. He should be their social person. He ambassadors.
Well, if you're watching,
whoever you are, you're doing a great job, man.
That's cool.
He drinks about 7 a day.
Oh, wow. That's why you're big and strong.
Yeah.
It's work. It's
just like an ad now.
Keep it up. I think a lot of the issue as well is a lot of traditional businesses don't think about the multiple funnels in terms of marketing.
Sure.
And everything's about ROI, which conveniently leads to my next question.
Which
every social media manager hates this question. There's literally a meme about it.
So just in case anyone doesn't know, ROI stands for return on investment.
Yeah.
So a question that we get a lot is, what kind of return on investment would I expect to see from social media? Like, why should I invest in social media?
Why are you laughing?
I just want to hide in a corner because I hate this question. Yeah, you're going to get $1 million. No. Every social media person who's listening right now is screaming in their head because they know how hard this question is, because realistically, there's no way to measure what your trending video is going to get you in a return on investment. It's a very hard question because, it's not like an ad where you can track where that, has turned into a lead, who's then turned into business, who's turned into money, who's turned into figures. There's nothing to really, you know what I mean, show that. Like you can do things like giveaways where you can do landing pages, and then you can, your return on investment is hundreds of thousands of emails and data that you can use for remarketing and things like that. But other than that, like if you want to just do normal content, which is organic social media, so just like a content calendar where you're posting, again, 3 to 5 times a week, there's no way for you to actually measure how much you're getting on a return on investment.
I think a lot of the value comes from the actual user journey. And like if you have a nice social media compared to your competitors, and someone's going to buy a product, for example, Vic, he just bought an ice bath.
It was sauna, wasn't it?
Both. He bought both.
He bought both?
He bought both because a lot of influencers these days, he's literally been influenced by influencers. Like he's
they're doing their jobs. So.
He's seen on social media, like everyone's saying ice bath, sauna, and then he's heard on Joe Rogan, he's talking about it, and as soon as Joe Rogan talks about it, the biggest guy, like okay, this is obviously
working. It's
so he does
good
that.
For me.
But part of his buying process is looking at that product and its competitors, going on social media, who has a larger influence, who has more followers, what are people saying on reviews, and then there's massive value in that social presence there, because that could be the factor. There's like 7 touch points or something like that in a user journey. Across 5 different platforms.
Obviously social media supports that.
And there's like more than 5 platforms, but a typical user journey, 5 platforms, 7 touch points. And one of those platforms, social media, massive value. You don't want to lose them in that step.
Of course.
No, and I think the thing to remember also is most of the social media is done at that sort of awareness stage. So yes, he did buy those products, but he's also been talking about it for like almost a year. So like obviously social media's role in it was to continue that sort of education process, stay top of mind. It's not like he saw one random post at one time, then he literally went out and bought it. So that facilitated all the way down to the funnel, right to the end where eventually he bought something. And I think that's obviously, like you said, very hard to measure.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not like a direct link with ROI, but it does play a crucial part.
Of course. It all just supports your whole marketing strategy as a whole. Like having if you're doing great marketing and you've got great ads, you've got a great website, you've got, SEO that's amazing, and then you've got a crappy social media, it's like, you know what I mean? Like why fault
100%.
Fault that at the end when you've just done everything else so well. You don't neglect that just because, you might not necessarily believe in social media, or you don't love what the people have attitude on social media. And that's the setback that I get a lot of time, and people are like, I don't understand the importance. I don't see the value. And it's like, well, as you said, social media is so important in that 7-step process, or that 7-touch process that you just said, that if you fall off on one of them, like, oh, why would they not?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It looks bad on you as a business.
If you're targeting anyone under 30, like they're on social media. Like they want to see that you're on there trying
100%.
to, build a relationship with them.
Exactly right. Like if I'm going to a restaurant and I'm reading a menu and it's just written, I'm like straight onto the social media.
I'm on Instagram to look at the pictures. Yeah.
Exactly. I want to see exactly what my food looks like. And that would make me decide what I'm going to eat. Because if if the risotto looks really good on the menu, but looks crappy like sludge on, what I mean, the photos, I'm not going to buy it. But that's exactly, again, we can't measure that technically, but that whole process, you have to think about how people are thinking. And you don't even realize that you actually do it too as a person. So you need to think about, hey, if I do this, obviously other people are going to be doing the same thing too. So I hate that question, but
you did well.
I feel like that it just needs to be more of an open discussion about return on investment with social media, rather than just like, give me a figure of what this is going to look like.
Well, it's a good way to put it. I think you've answered it quite nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Palms aren't as sweaty anymore.
Let's give her a harder one. What do we got here?
I thought that was the hard one.
No. We'll give you a hard one.
Okay.
What do you reckon?
This is so scary.
Yeah.
She loves this.
Oh, stop.
How many hashtags should I use?
Oh, you really hit
Get to the point.
Really
we want numbers. We want figures.
Okay, well, to be fair, Instagram actually came out with actual facts like not long ago about use 3 to 5 hashtags.
Okay.
But that was a while back. I think that was like a year ago now. It's just, it changes too quickly for you to be like, yeah, no worries. If I use 6 hashtags, I'm totally screwed. Like it's just not.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, God.
When was the last time you clicked on a hashtag?
So never.
Wow.
Like never. I don't think I've ever clicked on a hashtag in my life, to be honest. But SEO is really big now on social platforms.
It does help.
That's fair.
So like TikTok and Instagram is like keywords these days helps your search. It never used to be as strong.
I think that's actually, I don't know if you've seen, but in YouTube, hashtags have a massive influence on SEO.
Yeah, I'm sure YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about SEO, and rather than like, oh, let's just use a hashtag. Because back in the day, people just used to use like Instagram photo, like for like. Like it used to be those crappy hashtags that was just to, because apparently someone came out and said, these are the hashtags that make you go viral, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's all about keywords. So using hashtags that are relative to what you're talking about or what you're showing in a video or a photo is what generates, the good use of hashtags, if that makes sense. And also like captions as well. So hashtags has always been a thing, like keywords, whatever, but what you put in your captions and in your live captions as well is what helps people find the content that you're talking about as well.
Especially, I feel like that's very true on TikTok. Like if you have captions, then you search a word that you search on TikTok a word that happens to be in that video's captions,
100%.
that video is going to come up.
And that's the best, because there's so many times where I'm like, oh, I saw this video the other day. I forgot to save it. I'm trying to look it up. So I'm looking up words in TikTok or whatever it is, trying to find this video again. And 9 times out of 10, I actually find the video again. There's actually a filter where you can actually find videos that you've watched. So I don't have to do that anymore. But back in the day, keywords is awesome. So hashtags, not necessarily there's a number. Don't fill your caption with hashtags either. It just looks so tacky.
Spammy.
Oh,
looks so spammy and so tacky.
It looks desperate.
It looks very desperate, and especially when it's just like random crap as well. It's not actually valuable to what you're posting, what you're talking about in your social media post. But put a few hashtags in there that are relative, but don't overflow it with
Sounds good.
hashtags. I feel like I'm getting interviewed for a job.
We're doing all right so far, so keep rolling.
What do you reckon?
Are you going to tell me whether I keep my job?
When a lot of people sort of talking to us about social media and they kind of don't get it, they always sort of ask, should we try and be funny on social media? So should we try and jump on trends? Should we change our tone of voice?
Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of that stuff sort of on there. So should people like try and do that type of stuff?
I definitely think that if your brand is open to it, yeah. Like the best social media accounts that I can think about off the top of my head are just the ones jumping on trends.
100%.
They're just doing things different. They're not just like waiting for a trend to come out and then getting, waiting 12 months for it to be approved and then jumping on it. And you're like, oh God, that's so obvious that you haven't jumped on that quick enough. Totally, I guess, creating a tone of voice for social media, I feel like is really important.
Yeah.
Say like, I'm trying to give an example so that everyone would know. Say like Vegemite is a very Australian, well-known, really nostalgic brand, right? To so many people. It's not just like younger people. This is like, every Australian
everyone knows.
Everyone knows what Vegemite is, right?
Even I know.
Yeah, literally.
I wasn't even born here.
But that's what I mean. So like Vegemite, right? If Vegemite, being a very, very big company, might have a really, really strict legal team, might have a really, really, really strict brand guidelines. They have a very strict tone of voice and they're very, very traditional with their ways. I'm not saying they are, but if they were. If Vegemite didn't take that opportunity to go, hey, social media is blowing up, Vegemite is not necessarily a really, really strict product that we need to, think about. If they didn't take that opportunity to go, let's make some funny videos. Let's make some videos where we're sending people Vegemite to try for the first time and we're getting their reaction and, having a laugh about it. Just because they're not liking it doesn't mean we're not going to post about it.
I think that's like what they do really well is like
100%.
People always just try Vegemite for the first time and do they
they scoop it like Nutella.
Yeah.
And imagine, like, I feel like Vegemite have a great opportunity. I don't know if they're actually doing this, but if they're not, they should be showing all these reactions and being like, oh, you guys are idiots. This is how you should actually do it. And then getting them and working with them again to be like, let's redo that video. Let's actually show you how to use Vegemite. It's not Nutella. It's, a little bit of a spread on some buttery toast. You know what I mean? So I feel like if you are a brand and you're doing social media and, you want to be a big social media presence and you're really, really strict and you're not liking your tone and you have the opportunity to change it, I would.
I feel like you got to give people a reason to follow your account.
100%.
And I think,
and come back as well.
Like not every post has to be funny, but like if you can sprinkle in like harmless, funny content that people are gonna just react to, like that engagement is so valuable towards the algorithm, and then you'll get suggested to other people.
Yeah, like so you go.
I was just gonna say, like, I completely agree with that, but I think a good point also would be to stay true and authentic to sort of what you are. Because if you're not that brand, the worst thing on there is like fake looking social media 100%. Where you've sort of, it just looks desperate and you've tried to sort of tack on something that is not sort of authentically you.
Yeah.
So definitely explore the fun side and sort of do all that, but stay, like that example was an amazing example.
Yeah.
That works for Vegemite, but also just have a think of who you really are and how you could do that on
exactly
social.
Right. Yeah. And I think that at the end of the day, like social media is not meant to be really, really strict and funny. If you have a social media that's like just super strict, like again, I don't want to ever say that there's no point, but it's like you're not really adding any value anywhere. Social media is a fun place. It's meant to be really fun, lighthearted, and enjoyable. People go on social media to enjoy things. They don't go on social media just to be like, oh, here's, the case that we won last week, blah, blah. Here's the information. Here's a block of text you got to read. That's not what they want to see.
Yeah, there's other places.
They want to hear, like, you could do, if it's, go back to the law firm, you could do an interview with the lawyer and be like, how do you feel about that? What's something that you really, really enjoyed about that case? Or that they can talk about, obviously, like these whole legal things. But do it a bit different. You don't have to throw out your morals. You don't have to throw out your brand guidelines or your tone of voice. But just think about how you can do it better. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I always talk about my 3 E's, which is my entertaining, engaging, and what was it? Educational. Yeah. Entertaining, engaging, and educational are my 3 E's that I always tell people that when you have a social media, you have to, all your content has to hit one of those.
100%.
And don't hit one of them all the time. You've got to have a good balance of all three because realistically, again, social media is not a website. So you're not just trying to put information in people's faces. Think about how you can do it where people are going to enjoy it a bit better. And have some fun. Like, try, like, your fun doesn't have to be, again, TikTok dances, but have fun with it. It's meant to be, it's free. It's a free, fun platform. It's not meant to be super strict.
Well, one of my favorite things that brands do, and I think this is more like the brand itself, if they have their own dedicated social media manager, is like going and commenting on random videos.
Yeah,
like
I love that.
On TikTok. So like, I'll just be on a random viral TikTok and I'll scroll to the comments. and then you'll just see like, Vegemite's commented or
Yeah,
something.
it's always
like,
Duolingo as well.
and
half
it's
the fun's the comments, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like that to me just
and
makes
it's got nothing to do with it.
exactly. It just makes the brand feel so much more real.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, whoever's behind this corporate company
Yeah.
is a real person, and
Yeah.
like they have emotions and they're trying to connect an audience.
100%. I know Jetstar does that really well. They have like this there's like
Jetstar's TikTok is
Jetstar's
hilarious.
TikTok is hilarious because it's probably like some like 23-year-old
Yeah.
like me running it, and it's really girly and really funny.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone in the comments is like, oh my God, I love how the social media manager for Jetstar is a One Direction fan or something. Like it's just so funny. And you can relate back to them. But yeah, have some fun, and don't have to throw out all your morals, but yeah, just remember that social media is meant to be a fun platform.
Yeah, so touching on some of the things you mentioned about content, a lot of the questions that we come through are sort of in relation to that, and a big one would be, what type of content should I post? Like what should I put out there?
A lot of different stuff. I know that the biggest thing at the moment is EGC. So there's so many things that you can do, but
I've actually never heard of EGC.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. Employee generated content is like what people are doing these days to be a little bit different, take away from the UGC, the normal standard stuff. It's just employee generated content. So brands, there are literally like brands in Australia right now who are doing it really well. There's a few Australian businesses where all of their content on TikTok is literally just employee generated content. It's got nothing to do with any of the products that they're selling.
Yeah.
They're literally just creating funny videos, trends, like day in the lives, dress up as your favorite celebrity, like things like that.
Yeah, it's a culture on show.
And it's a culture.
Yeah.
I have seen this a lot more recently.
It's so
you know what
good.
I've actually seen on TikTok?
What have you seen?
I've seen just people streaming their jobs on TikTok.
Really?
Like there was
Like a live?
Stereotyping.
No. Like yesterday on TikTok, I saw there was this ice cream shop, and they were just making the ice cream, and they were just streaming it. And there was like 400 people watching.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But some people love that. Like that's the thing. So that is a really, really big thing at the moment, because everyone you assume who has a business has at least one employee, whether it's you or a team. Creating content that is again so authentic and relatable is what is seeming to be doing so well on social media.
Because it's more real.
It's so real because you're basically creating a relationship without even realizing with these people. You're getting familiar with their faces. You're finding out the personality types of each employee. You're seeing this business and being like, if they put a bit of a product placement in there somewhere, you're not even going to realize.
Yeah.
You're not even, it's just natural because you're like, oh, I've seen about 10 videos of them.
We
just
drink Coke.
Yeah, literally. Oh, we wear really nice jewelry. And then you see in the comments, oh, where'd you get your jewelry from? Or what are you wearing? And it's like, they're wearing their brand, or they're wearing their, or showing off their product. But it's in such a subtle, natural way that it's not salesy.
Yeah, I think it draws people into who you are and what you do, and it just gives you a much more emotional connection with your
100%.
brand rather than like a hard sell type
100%.
thing.
Yeah,
so I think subconsciously, you're loving that brand.
Loving it.
Yeah.
You're literally creating, as I said, a relationship with these people. So people want to trust, they want to know who they're trusting. They want to know who they're going to spend their money with. That's why they like to see the face of the brand. They like to see who they're giving their money to. So that's a really great place to start if you don't know who, or don't have enough money to create content. If you don't have money for a shoot, or you don't have money for, this an actor or influencers or whatever it is, just do employee generated content to start. If it's, if you're not in a position to do content where it's like, dress up as your favorite celebrity, or what did we eat today, or things like that, just do content like day in the life of whatever your job is.
Yeah.
Follow me around on my job.
I think people are like intrigued by the behind the scenes aspect of
100%.
it. Like
They
behind
wanna
the
see
scenes
the
content.
journey.
People love seeing new behind the scenes content in general. It's like, oh, that's how they do it. Oh, that's what they do.
They don't want to just see the clean cut finished version. They want to see how you got to this. They want to see how much money you spent, how much did you struggle, what were the setbacks, what were the issues that you had, because again, they want to know that you guys are human like us. You know what I mean? So
that's cool.
That's a great place to start. And then obviously, if you have budget, that's when you can start using user generated content and having creators and influencers and doing content shoots. But EGC is a great place to start where you don't know where to start, basically.
Yeah, awesome.
Just have a look on social media. You'll find so many examples. And just start. Yeah.
So you said influencers there.
Yeah.
So we can't have a social media podcast without the I question. So final question for you. Should we be using influencers to promote our products or services?
Yeah, 100%.
Still good? Still works?
Still good. Still works. I think it's a very controversial kind of conversation because influencers to some people have such a negative view. Like people have a negative
connotation with
and you know, I speak to influencers every single day. Creators, influencers, I use them every single day. I speak to them every single day. So and I continue to because I see the value in them, right? There are a lot of people who are completely blown out with their prices, completely just ridiculous and, you know, should not be asking for the money that they're asking for. But I definitely think influencers are still so important. As you said before, like Vic was influenced by Joe Rogan, right? He might not necessarily be an influencer per se, but he is still an influential person. Like influential people.
The concept's still there.
Exactly. The concept's still there. So having people who have a platform to influence other people, like definitely use it. You don't understand the value. Like sometimes, you know, if there's an influencer with 1 million followers, think about how much that's going to cost you to get 1 million views or a video clicks or 1 million or whatever it is for a paid ad.
Plus the value of their influence, which is like the main thing that you're buying essentially.
Right.
Like
their audience is a lot more warm and receptive to them.
To that person.
Exactly.
Like,
but how do you go about finding like a good influencer? Like I know we've talked a lot before in terms of things like there's a lot of influencers who sort of fluff numbers or this person has, you know, a million followers, but then there's like 5 likes on their post. So how would a business go about actually finding a good influencer?
Yeah. Well,
and how do they approach them?
For sure. That's a really good question because a lot of people do the research themselves. So I honestly, a lot of the stuff that I do, I research them myself because, you know, there's different platforms and you can, you know, go on websites and you can use all these different software to find influencers. But at the end of the day, you should be, if you're going to spend a lot of money, which you probably will with influencers, you should do the research yourself. Go, I know on social media, especially like TikTok and stuff, you can literally, as I said, keywords, just filter things. So put in fashion, put in Australia, put in e-commerce or, you know, deodorant or put in robo vacuums or whatever it is, right? Put that in and you will find people who are relative in that niche. So if you want someone to have a robo vacuum, you do household, you know, stay at home mums or stay at home dads or whatever it is. And you'll find so many influencers first of all off the bat. And then you just click onto their profile, have a bit of a scroll, see the kind of content that they're posting, see what other brand deals they've done as well. See the engagement, see what their audience is responding to, look at the follower ratio compared to the engagement. Like if they're getting really,
I think that's an important one.
100%. If they're getting really, really low engagement and they've got heaps of followers, they've either bought them or they've like got a really, really low engagement rate, and that can happen.
Like you really have to use your judgment.
But
like that's
what they'll do is that they'll go, well, I've got 1 million followers, so I'm going to charge you like I've got 1 million followers. And it's like, well, just because you've got 1 million followers doesn't mean your engagement rate is matching that. And that's the issue.
You could have got those 1 million followers 10 years ago. But if you've only got an extra, you know, 10,000 in the last 5 years, then your influence isn't as big as you think it is.
And that's the issue that, you know, I come across as well, is that it's very, very hard to then go back to an influencer and go, hey, you're not actually worth that. You're not. So usually most of the time you just say, I would suggest saying, look, unfortunately, you're out of our budget. I'll reach out if our budgets align better in the future. Because it's very, very hard. They're very, very proud, a lot of influencers, and they're not, especially managers as well. A lot of influencers have managers who are very, very hard to work with sometimes. Some of them are lovely, but some of them are really hard. And they're like, we will not budge. Like this is the mark. I'm going to charge $10,000. Oh, we'll give you $50 off. And you're like, oh. And then in that moment, you want to send them
up and go.
Literally, you want to send them the screenshot of the engagement rate and be like, this is ridiculous that you're charging this. Like, how can you be charging this when your engagement rate is so low?
Yeah.
But influencers are still valuable. Do your own research, have a look, and then a lot of the time find their email. So whether their email is in their bio on TikTok, if you go on Instagram and you're on the mobile app, they usually will have an email button there. So click on the email button, get their email. If you are working with managers, do kind of understand that you probably will get upcharged a lot more than if you were talking to the influencer directly. So if you would rather talk to the influencer directly, maybe try DM them first if there's no personal email. Have a conversation where they don't bring in their manager first, because a lot of the emails that I get is like, oh, thanks so much for your email. I'm going to loop in my manager now. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
Because you know that the conversation is probably a lot easier to have with the person themselves because they're the ones getting the money. Whilst the managers, I've heard a lot of the time, they don't actually know what they're getting from it. The manager has a mark that they are working with, and then they charge 20% on top, and then they charge this, and then they charge that, and then the influencer actually doesn't know what they're getting in the end.
I think that's why there's a lot of value in those smaller influencers under 100,000 followers because like
micro, I guess.
Micro
technically 100,000 is still a lot, so maybe not micro, but micro.
But because they're growing and they're building their audience, they're going to be posting a lot of good content to try and grow themselves. So.
And also I know that there is I know that there are websites and stuff that you can go to where people leave reviews on influencers. I've seen a lot of small brands, especially if you're a small brand and you don't have much money and you're just going to invest it all in an influencer, I would totally disagree with that. Do not do that. Because you see time and time again where people invest their money, they give free products that are worth thousands of dollars, and then they get ghosted by the influencer. And it's awful as a small business, especially if you're a startup, to then be treated like that because you probably didn't have a contract in place that was very good if you had one. You can't go find their home and then like go and fight them for it. Like it's a lot harder, and it's probably not worth the legal fees to take it any further. So you really have to be careful, have a look around, see who they're working with. If you really want to go that far, reach out to the brand that they've worked with and be like, hey, what was your opinion on this person? Like there is no harm in doing that because I'm sure business to business, they will be like, you know what, that person was great. We really liked them. Or look.
Well, they weren't that great.
Because
they'll be more honest.
100%. Like there is so many people out there who are great to work with, but just make sure that you are looking after yourself as a business and a brand and doing the research yourself and not relying on other people. If you have an agency though, you know, they're obviously going to, like us, we're going to do
all the hard work.
Exactly. We do all the hard work for you. Like we'll sort all that out, but smaller businesses and I would definitely just be careful and not invest all your money in the beginning into big influencers. Do smaller creators like UGC creators.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you think she passed?
I think she's done.
Do I still have my job?
I think you're still good. That's
he thinks he's gonna have to think about
that
this
was
later
all
on.
the burning questions that were given to us.
Yeah.
So I think you've done really well answering them.
Thank you.
Maybe give us like just a wrap up in terms of, you know, your best sort of couple of tips or your best sort of advice to sort of how to get started, what you should do.
So
that you would tell people.
If you guys were coming to me for a new social media platform, I think first of all I would say is just start social media. You know, start your main platform, start the Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. Again, a great place to start if you're doing video content. Just get them started. Just get your branding done. You know, I'm sure you've got a website, so just get your branding consistent across your social media platforms, and then start creating content. Just dive right in, do a quick scroll on social media, and I'm sure you'll find 5 videos that you'll, you know, be interested in doing. Post some content, you know, get a really, really nice portfolio on Instagram. Instagram is portfolio based. So make your Instagram look really, really pretty. And like, you know, when I say pretty, that's my word of like, just make it look good. Make it look really nice, aesthetic, like get your products out or get your service out, make it look really, really nice. TikTok, just post some really cool videos, you know, trends, culture, product stuff. Again, and remember that TikTok is fun. TikTok is lighthearted and fun and really, really short engagement span. So just remember that.
Unless you're the US Senate.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh God, that's another story. But then, and then if you're having video content and you don't have the opportunity to do a social media strategy for each platform, just post the content across all of them. It's fine. Just get content out. You just need to look like you are active on social media, that you're actively, you know, on those social media platforms. So just get that going, and then, you know, just grow from there. Like you basically just doing a lot of trial and error in the beginning of what works. You're seeing what engages the most. You're seeing what doesn't. You might have a video that you think is the worst thing that you've ever posted, but it gets 1 million views.
Well, yeah.
I had a video that we filmed here, and it took me 6 seconds. Everyone in the office was laughing at Steph and I for doing it, and it's got 4.1 million views. So it's just like things like that you need to think about. Just start. Please just start. Just start, get going, make it look good, make it engaging, get some, you know, remember your keywords, remember to write good captions and stuff so that are relative to your post. And then, yeah, just go from there. If you want to hire a social media manager, I would definitely recommend it. I definitely think that it is a full-time job if you want to really, really focus on it. Definitely. It's not something that you can just neglect. It's not something, I'm going to just post a photo here. It's no, you need to make sure that your branding, your colors, your fonts, they're all consistent. Everything looks good and everyone's, the editing's good. You got to remember that videos come with video editing. So whether you're hiring someone to edit the videos or you just do it yourself, just, you know what I mean? Learn CapCut, learn how to use a bit of Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever it is, just real basic stuff. Just get going and just get your platform to, if you're as proud about your website, you want your social media to be, you want to be as proud of your social media.
More people are probably going to see your social media.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's so much more accessible, and get things like a link tree up where you can link all your websites or your landing pages, your social media platforms, things like that. Make sure that in your bio that you're putting what you're about, your location, your contact information, so your email.
Maybe some personality.
Yeah, add some little bit of
definitely
spice.
On TikTok. That's a thing.
Yeah, you want a head of a business if you're a business social media platform. You want someone to be recognizable. You want 2 or 3 or one person at least to be consistent in the social media so that they can go, oh, that's the person from this account. Because that
happens a lot.
It happens so much. And I end up seeing people's personal accounts who are heads of business accounts and going, oh my God, I know her. She's the head of this social media account. Oh my God, I love her. She was really good here. So I really like her personally. So it's just super important. People just want to feel good when they're on your social media. They want to get the information. They want to see the product. They want to see the service or whatever you're selling. They just want a great experience. Social media is, again, lighthearted, fun. Remember your 3 E's: entertaining, engaging, and educational. And you'll be sweet. Just start and be open. Remember to be open on social media.
Oh, very good. Well, I think that was amazing, Bianca. I think you've done really well. Put you under the grill there and you
oh my gosh.
performed.
Anyone who watched all that through is going to get a lot of value out of that.
Oh, thanks,
especially if they have never touched social media. If you're not convinced.
Sure. I think there's a lot of good
nuggets. Send this to your boss if they don't understand social media, and give them to give me a call.
That's it. Awesome.
I promise I'll change their mind. Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks, guys. I feel a little bit less sweaty now. That was really stressful.
Should we wrap it up or you go?
I don't know. Well, I think we'll give it a
go
on. Wrap it up.
No Thanks so much, guys, for joining us in this episode. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
See ya.